Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Today it's time for us to look at the Farasute model number 5336A. Now, we don't get too many dress watches on this channel, or even regularly enough, but this one caught my eye in the 11/11 sale just gone, and of course you guys saw me unbox this on the channel. Now, this is the first time I've looked at a watch from Farasute. I saw the watches popping up quite a lot, and I noticed they do a lot of unique designs, very dressy and classical looking watches, but their prices are definitely up there. Now, this model is one of the cheaper ones, and this set me back only around £118 in the sales, but it's around £130 under normal retail. Now, for that, you get a fully polished steel case with a low dome sapphire crystal. You get 50 meters of water resistance with a push-pull crown, and it features an alleged Hangzhou automatic movement. There's more on that later, and watch as I take the watch apart. Now, the watch does come in 4 classical colors, the one in hand in silver. You get a deep blue color as well, a gorgeous salmon dial, and a classic black dial version as well. So after the unboxing, I did spend a little time with this watch, and it's a really well made dress watch. There's lots of gorgeous little details all over the place. So we'll start at dimensions. The watch comes in at 39 millimeters across with a thickness of just 10.4 millimeters and a lug to lug of just 47.5 mil and a 20 millimeter lug width, which for an automatic watch with a low dome crystal to be so thin is quite respectable. Now, this is possibly the nicest dress watch I've seen in a long time, and it all starts at the dial. Instantly, you see some really beautiful details. You've got circular brushing on the silver dial where the minute track is printed and where the hour markers are applied, which is a much broader surface area, which allows you to see that fine concentric brushing, which then brings you to that main event in the center of the dial. It's a stunning outward faux guilloche type pattern, more than likely stamped, but it's very precise and it has the right depth, and it does look extremely crisp. Now, the sub dial has slightly longer minute markers with automatic printed across the top and the polished seconds hand. Now, I will say I wish the seconds hand was as sharp as the minute and hour hands, but it's something I can live with. Now, the applied dagger style indices are perfectly aligned and beautifully chamfered and polished to a mirror finish. This means you do get much better legibility even on this silver dial. So also like the banner style printed name across the 12. It's quite detailed with bevels all across the sign, but they do also have a logo which they can use in place of the text if they needed to. Now, there's another little feature on the dial. It's a very fine detail, and only on real close-ups can you see it properly. So all those dial sections that I've spoken about are split up by these very thin borders. It's very difficult to describe what it is because the main thing is I don't know what to call it, but it's like let's say a dotted crimping pattern, which splits that minute track from the concentric circle where the hour markers are applied, which then obviously splits that from that center part of the dial, and it's also bordering that sub seconds hand. And that's a very fine detail indeed, and I think that does look pretty stunning. And it just goes to show how much attention to detail or micro detailing is present on a watch with a very low price point. Now, the handset is by far the best thing about this watch, and it's the one thing which sets it off and sets it apart from a lot of the competition. They look super sharp and crisp, but what I do like the most is that half brushed finish on the handset. You get it on opposite sides and it aids legibility, but also enhances the look. I mean, that classical 10-10 position, look how stunning that looks with those half brushed hands. Now, I'd also like to point your attention towards that sealed hole in the center of the hands. Usually you get a pinion sticking out, but here they've got like a top cap which has been flattened and brushed to give you a very clean aesthetic look. So before we move any further, let's take a look at that movement. Now, Farasute on their website state it's a Hangzhou movement with 22 joules and like 41 hours power reserve. But thankfully, a very helpful watch reviewer commented in the unboxing, let me know what kind of movement it is. So a bit of research later, we find out it's like a modified Seiko 7009 movement from the old Seiko 5 watches. And I had to take a look. I had to open the case back, and that is something that I can actually verify because I've modified a lot of Seiko NH35s. And I'm quite used to looking at some of the features on the movement. So here you'll be able to see, well, you got the rotor, which has been made by Hangzhou potentially, and they've got some sort of perlage on there. However, it's quite a rough rotor. It's nowhere near as sleek as even the older 7009 movements. So I don't think it's a modified one. I think it's a clone. to that movement because they have modified it. They've moved the seconds hand at the 6. You also get hand winding, but unfortunately you don't get any hacking. Now you can see some things, which one thing I noticed, which is the main thing which I know Seiko have, is that magic lever or the pole lever. When you see me moving that rotor back and forth, you can see that pole lever kind of winding the watch. So potentially this is a, you know, self-made clone movement of a Seiko, again by Hongjai, but it's not available on the catalog, so perhaps just for Farasute. However, testing this watch on the time grapher revealed some more information. This particular one is running at +5 seconds a day with a very healthy amplitude of around 308 degrees and a very precise beta error of 0.1. So that's excellent, right? I don't think that movement, which was so old, ran to these specifications. So whoever has made this movement for Farasute, they have definitely not only cloned it, but they've improved the actual running of it. So reliability, I think they should get that from the clone movement of the Seiko, you know, that blueprint that they followed. So I don't see any, you know, potential issues with this movement, but of course, I've not had enough experience with it. So moving on to the case, it is a basic dress watch case. You've got very curved and shapely lugs with well-defined lugs. You got some really good definition on the case, even though it is fully polished. You get a very slim and low profile curved bezel, which sits really well with that low dome sapphire crystal. And I'm surprised they got the watch to be so slim, but with all these design features, I'm pretty sure that's what's enabled it. The case, of course, being fully polished brings a set of issues regarding fingerprints and scratches, but it is a dress watch and I don't mind that polished finish at all, because that polished case definitely complements the other polished features that you see on the watch. So they supply the watch with an elephant grey leather watch strap with contrast stitching. You know, for this particular color, I do think it suits it pretty well. Of course, these watches can be paired with so many other straps, and with the quick release bars on the leather strap, it makes it much easier. What I do like about this one though is that engraved pattern. You got some deep embossing on that leather, and then I like the thickness in particular. It is quite thin compared to what you usually get when you get leather watch straps. Now that means it's thin enough and it's very supple. It doesn't need a whole lot of breaking in, and it really helps, you know, hold onto the wrist, and it feels very comfortable. The strap ensures you get a great wrap around the wrist. The watch itself fits very nicely with that 39mm diameter, and it's thin enough to fit under any cuff. It's got really good presence. I think it's a dress watch with all the right features, a very symmetrical dial. It's got really decent legibility, and there's a lot of attention to detail on display and a very high build quality. So if you're in the market for a dress watch, this is well made and it's well under £150. This may be the one for you. So that's it from me today, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you on the next video.